Hi guys, my name is Shai and this is Evermind Astro. In this video, I'm talking about Black Moon Lilith in Taurus, okay? And if you're not sure about Lilith or how to find your Black Moon Lilith, I'm linking you to a really helpful resource down below that should answer all of your initial beginner questions. And my aim in this video is to just give you some general food for thought to kind of get you going on your Black Moon Lilith in Taurus, because she represents a really significant healing journey in everyone's life. Because of course we begin with the wound, right? The wound. What is the Black Moon Lilith in Taurus wound? It's like a wound of life, okay? A wound of vibrancy, I would almost want to call it. Feeling like you can't quite thrive on the earth plane, feeling like you can't quite be alive, feeling like you can't be in the light, that you have to hide in the shadows, almost like having to hide below ground. It's a very interesting one, Black Moon Lilith in Taurus, and this will also resonate to a certain degree if you have Lilith in some other sign, but in the second house, okay? So, super interesting with Black Moon Lilith in Taurus. Now, when Lilith, we have this wound, right? We have this wound, and I really feel like this is true. Like, I'm big into past lives, guys. If you know me, if you follow my work, right? I'm always talking about past lives and all of that good stuff. And for me, the Black Moon Lilith stuff comes from like recurring trauma through multiple past lives. So of course it will reflect in your childhood and in your early life and this life, but really this is like deep, deep, deep past life shadow work. Okay, so for somebody to incarnate with a Black Moon Lilith in Taurus, I would really feel that you guys have had like a whole string of lives where you just were not able to thrive, right? Where you were not able to thrive, you were pushed into the shadows. And that has left you feeling like, well, one of a couple of ways, right? Because from the Lilith wound, then we move into the Lilith extreme reactivity. And this is the interesting thing about Black Moon Lilith, is that she will react in opposite ways, like one of two ways, where you have on the one hand, she could become obsessed with the wound, right? She can become obsessed with the wound, or she can completely reject the theme of the wound and just go off on this thing of like further and further, like moving farther and farther away from it, thinking that she can just reject, and just like get farther and farther and farther away, as if that will somehow ever work, right? So Black Moon Lilith in Taurus, if you're in the obsession phase, oh, and by the way, like, yeah, some people might go more this way and some people might go more the other way, but really you can go both ways in the same life, or you could be going both ways at the same time, is this crazy push-pull thing. That's why the Lilith energy is so, it can be really confusing to figure out, right? So if you're in the obsession side of your reaction to your Taurus Lilith wound, you're going to be feeling like wanting to gobble up creature comforts, right? That's a phrase that's often thrown around for Taurus, right? Is those creature comforts, right? I mean, shit, you could end up with an eating disorder with this one. I mean, this could be overeating, right? Or stress eating too much. I mean, you could have bulimia, right? You could just as easily, do starvation diets or become anorexic, even because you're like rejecting like the life force, right? You're rejecting what you need. You're rejecting your sustenance. But on the obsession side, this could be like overeating, overindulging, sex, drugs, rock and roll, just like indulgence, constantly wanting more. You could even see like if you're looking at a chart of somebody who's like a really kind of like normal human, right? Somebody who's probably not into astrology, so is probably never going to watch this video, but you could see someone like this who is like, some kind of like business type of person, right? Like a high power business type, and they could be just really obsessed in getting more and more money, just feeling like never have enough security, constantly wanting to just get more and more. There can really be this obsession on just, getting the house, getting the trophy partner, getting this and that, getting the car, getting the vacation, right? Acquiring all this stuff to like fill this need to feel like you are thriving and alive. But on the rejection side, you're going to have it's kind of like the vibe of anorexia, right? And of course, like anorexia, like, you know, to have actual clinical anorexia, that would be hopefully rather rare here, but that would be like an extreme and really obvious example of how this could go when you're kind of rejecting life, right? This is like a life rejection type of thing. You could get extreme asceticism, and of course, some people do asceticism as, you know, a spiritual journey, a spiritual purpose, and that can of course be done very well, very beautifully, all of that. But also, if you, for those of you who know me, you know that I'm not really into asceticism as a really big deal part of spirituality going forward for most of us, right? Of course, it will be for some people. For most of us, though, this is really about living our lives and thriving, right? And blending spirituality and physicality, because of course the physical world is just as spiritual as the spiritual world, right? Completely getting rid of this idea that the physical world is somehow not spiritual, right? It's like, no, we're here for this, right? So all of this has to do with, right, the rejecting of life, right? When you just I feel like some people with this placement could get this thing where they constantly get stuff and then they can't hang on to it, right? They just get it and then they lose it. They just get it and they lose it, and they get going like, well, what the hell's going on, right? Is everything booby trapped? I just get and then I lose, right? It's this feeling of like water going through a sieve, right? Water going through a sieve, like you just can't hang on to anything that you get. And this, of course, will manifest with you having increasing feelings of rage and wrath about this whole experience, and it just makes you reject life even more. You know, maybe just completely swearing off all of your possessions, selling everything you own. And it's not that everybody who sells everything they own and like moves off into a van has like Taurus problems, right? That I want to make a clear distinction here, because I'm the kind of person actually who will like sell everything they own and like ride off into the sunset, right? I've done it once before and I'm going to do it once again in a couple of years. But so that doesn't have to be like a wounded thing. That can just be like a adventure that you go on, right? But when it's done from this place of this wounding, right, it's a very like angry, bitter, resentful thing. And there's this feeling that getting rid of all of my stuff and like really rejecting life. And this could be like, you know, I don't need to go out, I don't need to have fun, I'm just gonna like stay hidden, stay in the dark, right? You know, I'm not gonna put any effort into my appearance. And it's not that appearance is important, it's just, but it's the feeling behind these decisions, right? That's what I want to get at. It's the reasons the person is deciding to do these things. If it's coming from a place of like negativity and bitterness and anger and resentment, that's how you can get clued in that it could be coming from some type of wound. In this case, we're talking about the Black Moon Lilith wound. Either getting obsessed with your creature comforts or completely rejecting your creature comforts from this place of bitterness, right? Bitterness. I would actually say that bitterness is really relevant here. Lilith is typically a very like angry energy, but I feel like with the Taurus energy involved here, it manifests more in bitterness. I mean, of course, you'd still be angry, and bitterness is anger, but you know, that's coming up here. And guys, I just gotta take a pause because my dog, he's sleeping under his blanket over there. Only his tail is sticking out, and I can hear him snoring, and he's sleep wagging his tail. He's sleep wagging, guys. Just his tail sticking out. It's so cute. So he's doing it again. Oh my god, it's so cute. My dog is always somehow relevant in a Taurus video because I feel like Taurus is just so connected to animals and nature and all of that. So anyway, on your healing journey to heal your Lilith and Taurus, right? What do you do? I mean, connecting with nature would be a good start, right? Connecting with dogs, connecting with animals. Because they can show you the beauty and like the sensual, satisfying sensory experience that you can have while encountering the physical world. This is basically trying to heal your relationship with the physical world. And knowing that things can be lighthearted, things can be playful. There's this whole aspect here. It's a little bit like a Taurus North node, honestly, guys, because when with your Black Moon Lilith in Taurus, you kind of get put into like a scorpionic space. Always with Lilith, pay attention to the opposite energy, because a Lilith placement can kind of send you into the opposite sign, right? So you're kind of you kind of get into a scorpionic kind of, you know, like low vibing Scorpio of just like stewing in your emotions and wanting to just be in the invisible world, right? And struggling with the physical world. So it's a little bit like a Taurus North Node journey. So coming back into the physical world and allowing things to be like light and bright. And this is the thing that might be really painful for you, because there might be a feeling that anything physical is just not important. And there could also be this feeling here that things that are fun just because they're fun, that's shallow, right? Or things that are happy and playful and cute and fluffy and fun and just like lighthearted and good, that those things are superficial, that they leave a bad taste in your mouth, and that they're just lowbrow, right? There can be this feeling that like the only things that are really, oh, how do I put my finger on it? It's like, not everything has to be so serious, right? Things can be high frequency and beautiful and fun, and like that can be good, right? Things don't need to be so serious all the time. Things can be fun, things can be playful, things can just be fun for no reason. Things can also be silly and lowbrow, and they can be superficial, right? This is like allowing things to be beautiful just for the sake of beauty, allowing things to be bright and full of laughter and light just for the sake of that. And then actually starting to tune into the higher frequencies of that and realizing that, I don't know, like I could really easily see someone with a Black Moon Lilith and Taurus being like a music snob. And I say this, like, I don't have Black Moon Lilith and Taurus, but I have been a music snob in my life, okay? So I'm kind of like an example, like a weird tangential example for this, right? I've been a music snob, and I used to think that all pop music was just horrible and lame and shallow and lowbrow and like wasn't worth my time, and I would just look down on all the pop musicians, right? I've really had a big turnaround on that lately, and I've been listening to a ton of pop music. Like, I just went to a Rae Jepsen concert, and it was fantastic. It was so high vibe, and it made me like understand, right? Understand how like bright and full of light some pop music can be, right? And it completely changed my like outlook on being a music snob right now. Now I'm like way listening to like a lot more just like fun, playful types of music because it makes me feel good, and I never did that before. So that's kind of an example here. And interesting that this whole tangent brought me to Rae Jepsen, because when I was at her show, I noticed a ton of Lilith energy, and I was like, huh, kind of interesting. So of course I went and like looked up her birth chart, and it turns out she has North Node in Taurus conjunct Black Moon Lilith. So I think she has kind of gone on this journey, right? From, if you listen to like her very, 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 very early music that you might not even be able to find, it was way more, it was not like what she makes now, right? And I think she's gone on to this journey of like coming out into the light, into the playfulness, into being a pop star, right? Into being like a princess of the light, being all bright and shiny like that, and knowing that that is a place where she can thrive, right? And that is a place where we all can thrive. We can thrive in the light, to thrive in the light. So when you can be happy and playful and grounded and just full of peace and love and happiness in the light, just because it feels good, that is when you will know that you have made significant strides in healing and recovering from your Black Moon Lilith wound in Taurus. So I'm going to leave you guys there. I have a bunch of links down below. You can check me out. I have another YouTube channel for Star Season Lightworkers. I offer tarot and astrology readings on my website, also available on Etsy if you prefer to shop on Etsy. I think I'm going to be posting a Lilith reading if you would like me to read your Lilith energy. Got other stuff going on, a newsletter, I do Astro updates. You can check me out, all of my links, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.